All right, so this is the second part of this fall foliage demonstration, and I was thinking that I would try to continue the idea of what I talked about in the little edges demonstration of how to make things come forward and how to make things go back. So to that end, I'm gonna actually start in the foreground, which is pretty weird, but that's what I'm gonna do, and see about making that stuff stronger and coming forward more. So the first thing I'm gonna do is also I sprayed it with a fixative right before now, right when I finished part one. And I guess what I'm doing here is I just decided for some reason this is not tight. I decided that I would just try to put really brilliant colors here to make that come forward, and then I'll add some other stuff to knock it down some so it's not so bright. But I kind of decided I wanted some of that stuff in there. So different things that you can do to make things come forward more is bigger strokes up close. So really this is supposed to be a little further away, so that would have been probably better if I hadn't quite made those strokes quite so big. So I'm just going to try to make that a little smaller right in there. And then I'm going to use my background color that I want right in here to pull into these guys too. Okay, let's see. So I do want some green in here. Not really loving that green, but not loving that either. But okay, so that was a little much. I just thought it'd be kind of cool to maybe this would, maybe, I don't know if I can want that, keep that there or not, but maybe I just try and get this little more of these grasses. And so I'm going to make my strokes a little smaller back in this area. I almost like got too much pastel now on this part already. So. Maybe this needs to be lighter. So one thing you can do when you have these little edges, you know, of shadow going across, is if you want on the front edge of the shadow, if you're trying to figure out a way to break up that line a little bit, you can, some of the lighter grasses will be sticking up on the front edge of this, the front edge of the shadow. So that's one way you can do it. And then on the back edge of the shadow, it's the reverse, the little darks are sticking up. So I'm actually trying to do that with, I didn't have much room to bring the darks up, so I just bringing some of that down. But like here, some of these darks could be sticking up from the grass. Like right in there. And that's a way that you can show it's grass just on the edge. There's a lot of things that are really awkward about working from the bottom up, that I keep having to come back and put the things that are on top back on top. But I don't know, I thought maybe it would be useful this time. Okay, so yeah, so it's just, see, it's just too much, too long, too much the same. Maybe put a little violet in there and also this, I can take this opportunity to try to make this not such a straight line. So not to make rules, of course, I know you're so sick of hearing this, but one thing is, generally speaking, shadows on vertical planes are darker than cast shadows. So the reason for that is because, as the sun, not only is the sun is, but the sky is shining into these shadows more because they're flat, so it's catching a lot of skylight, not sunlight, but skylight, making these shadows on a horizontal plane not quite as dark as the ones that are in the vertical planes where they don't catch as much skylight. You know, that's because there's two light sources outside. It's different indoors. On a sunny day, there's two light sources. You know, so here, it's like when you have these things, they're sort of separated. So I'm trying to figure out ways, that my other painting I was doing the other day too, just to be sure that these things connect together and they're not so like separate bum 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 blobs. I thought I'd try a little pink back there so that maybe I could make sure this orangey business is going to stand out more. Yeah, I'm kind of impressed, you guys. Like when I look at this, until I saw other people's paintings of it, I hadn't really seen this. I mean, I knew there were 3 tree trunks and all, but I just hadn't really seen this as separate trees so much. So that's good, I guess, to see it as separate things. But if you could maybe initially try to see it as a single thing, and then decide about how to, like, there's a lot of trees in this painting, right? And there's a lot of everything. And so, yeah, I don't even know if I can make 3 trees. My shadow's not dark enough. Right here, that this is 3 trees. Just didn't really see that. Yeah, maybe it's great that my glasses are so bad. Who knows? All right, so I really want this to come forward. I'm just going to put in those tree trunks there. And so like when here the shadow is directly under them, then it's going to be pretty dark. All right, so I'm trying to come this way, and so see, this is further away than this, so even though it just looks about the same darkness, to create more depth, I just am going to have to lighten it up some. There's probably one thing too many right there. And there we go. There's another thing too many. Woohoo. Actually, this isn't really drawn right, is it? This comes up. All right, well, let's see. This is really the thing that's way too dark, so let's get back there and see if I can get that better. Okay, so that's better. So this might be okay. Might be. That's the thing. I mean, you kind of get away with it more when you're doing landscape from a photograph, but when you're out painting from real life, man, you just have to keep looking at everything and comparing everything to make sure that that this is okay compared to this, but then is that okay compared to this, and is this okay compared to this? So you're never just really looking at one thing. You're trying to see the effect that each thing that you do has on everything in your painting. I didn't quite end up with enough space right in here, did I? And I wanted to do something about that shadow back in there under these guys. Okay, so I'm kind of liking that better. So now I've got to do something about this tree again. And then that has such a beautiful color, but that has still got to go back some more. Let's see what we can find for that business. I mean, it's a beautiful color in the... Oh, you know what? I'll do this. This is all too dark, I think. So let me see if I can do something about that first. And a little bit more on that. All right, let's see what we can do back here. Okay, so if that's all, now I've got that all a little lighter, so maybe I can lighten this up too. Golly, not that much though. All right, let's try, I think this is probably too dark, but... All right, so maybe just too cold. Not too dark now, but too cold. All right, and then I think I have to lighten the sky. I think that's the ticket back there. All right, now let's just see if we can bring this stuff forward some more. So I still don't have enough of a sense in here of what is the horizontals and what is the verticals. So see if I can just add some of that purple and delineate. You know, I don't want to leave it like that. This is a very soft purple, so it really filled it in, didn't it? So what? Still trying to make this look like it's, get my slope right there. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go back up to the sky because, yeah, I got still some places still, so. See if I can make this tree in front of that blob, and then the other tree is behind it. Oh, something like that. Okay, so because of doing that thing of working sort of from the front to the back, I would, you know, I would probably almost have to work on it again to get it, to get the things in front of other things. You don't think I would, I don't know, right this minute I don't feel like I would want to work on it again. I mean, I never do, but on these demonstrations, I don't. It's just, the thing is, it is really easy to overwork stuff because you just keep, I mean, for me, I just keep trying to make it better. And then next thing I know, I've made it worse. And then okay, so sorry, I can't reach over here very well. Yeah, so probably right now it just kind of need to be sprayed. And the things I would do if I worked on it more, I guess, just keep trying to make the color relationships better. It's just not quite doing it for me yet. So I don't know if I made this tree a little taller. Maybe a little more like that would be okay. God, what the heck? What the heck over there? No excuse that I just can't reach this corner. Okay, well, I tried to show you how things have to change to make them go back, and having your richest, darkest colors here in the foreground. And then things being a little less intense as you go further back. So the shadows are not, the contrast is not as great. So the contrast between this and this, not as great as the contrast up here in the foreground. Let's just see, let's do that. Yeah, let's see if we can blast this little tree again. And this whole thing about detail, you know, detail is detail. There is crap loads of detail in landscape. That's the deal about it. So much texture. So if you don't want to have to, you know, draw every leaf or every blade of grass, you have to find a way to make marks that suggest that you did more work than you really did. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Is I like to, you know, I use a lot of texture in landscape. This is a very textured sky too. I just can't get that color right. So how can you show a lot of texture that will translate as a lot of marks that will translate as detail without actually having to sit there and do every leaf and stuff? And so I think that you find places where you do a little more detail, and then you're sort of hoping, I guess I am, like if I am hoping that if I do a little bit of this here, that it starts to translate it all into detail for other people. And then the other thing would be if I do a little bit of, you know, stuff up on the edges to make it more, I don't know if that's going to show up, just a more varied edge up here. If that will carry over the idea of leaves everywhere. So I definitely show a lot of stuff on the edges. So like right here is a place that, yeah, I know those trees right here are really yellow right behind here, but I can't really have that so yellow right there because it'll compete then with this. And now that's got to go back more. What can I do there? This is Indian red. It was a color I'd kind of forgotten about, and then somehow I remembered how much I used to like it, and so I thought maybe they've changed the name of it now, because that would have been, seems like maybe they should have, but they haven't. So you can still buy Indian red, and this is the really light version, so it's 347.7, but it is a really good color. All right, I'll call it quits for now. I know it's not perfect by any means, but made it better, I think. All right, thanks.